got sound coming out. We should do. You should be able to hear me. Hopefully you can. Hopefully you can hear me. I don't know if you can or not. All right, you can hear me and you can see me. Okay, so we're getting closer. Incredible challenges today. So what we did today, let me just get rid of this. Okay, so what we've done for today is we've actually gone, we've disconnected my second monitor, and I'm using my iPad as my second monitor. And I just presented a few problems. I don't know why I'm having these other gremlins, but it just seems that we're going to have gremlins no matter what I do. And so you can see that this particular camera that I've got running, I just had to quickly get the shot up and going. Let me just see if I can fix the view. There we go. And so I just have to use the webcam for now. It looks like it's doing okay, but my other camera won't work. So I don't know why. I'm just going to quickly save this setting, because if I don't save it and the computer crashes, I'll have to set it all up again. Yeah, that's fine. Hello. Maybe now you can hear me. I don't know. Hello, can you hear me? You should be able to hear me. All right. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any video working today. So we're just going to jump straight into Pixel Chatter number 30, and we'll come back to worrying about setting up all the cameras and things later. But obviously something there is just not working. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm just going to try and make it so I can operate things a bit easier on a very limited panel. It's funny when you learn to fly airplanes. Let me have a look here. What do we got here? Yeah, when you learn to fly airplanes, sometimes they test you on a limited panel to see, how well you can fly if an instrument breaks down. And so today, that's what we're going to be doing. We are flying with some instruments not working. Because you don't need to see my ugly head anyway. All right, let's jump straight into it. So today, we've got a few things going on. We've got a Lightroom tip that came in from Anthony Younghusband, so I'm going to share that with you because I think that's kind of cool. And I don't know why. Let me just try and fix that up. There we go. I've got another idea actually. I've just thought of something that I'm going to try and see if I can get up and running. Doesn't look like it. Don't know what's going on there, but it is what it is. As long as you can all, under the hood, that's right, Anthony. As long as you can all hear what's going on, that's the main thing. So I've got a Lightroom tip that came in from Anthony, which was cool. So if you've got a Lightroom tip, feel free to share it, because it's always good to hear from other people what they're doing And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up a shot. Let me see. I'll bring up this one. I'll find one that's got some dots on it somewhere. I did have one lined up before, but of course, oh, there it is. Okay. So I'm going to flip over to my screen. Just bear with me as I do all of this today, and hopefully we'll get through the show. All right. So here we go. Here we have my Lightroom screen up on the screen, and you should be able to hear me as well, hopefully. So Anthony sent in this Lightroom tip, and I thought it was kind of cool because we've talked about removing dust bunnies before, and this shot's got some dust bunnies on it. But the best way to spot them is to zoom right in, up close. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 2:1. Let's jump into the develop module. And now if you have a look over here on the left, you'll see this white box, the inspector box. In fact, if I go to 4:1, let's really zoom in. See that box becomes smaller, and you can really see a lot of the detail. Now, one of the things that I do is I grab with my mouse and I move around the shot, and that's how I find things like dust bunnies. But what Anthony's come up with is a tip, and a way to go through your shot that I think is really good. So he sent this in to me last week, and he said what you can do is if you press your home button, on your keyboard, it'll move to the top left corner of your image. Now I've got a problem. I don't have a home button, and that's because I've got a Mac. So what I do is I press the function key and the left key to do the same thing. Now I'll actually go back to 2:1 because it's a bit hard to see what's going on. Let me go back to 2:1. Okay, so function and the left key is exactly the same as the home button on a PC. If you're on a Mac, that's what you press. Now to go through the image, now straight away we can see there's a dust bunny there. So we can just grab our tool for fixing that, our healing tool, and just get rid of that dust bunny. Now to look at the next part, now if you have a look at the inspector over here on the left, I'm going to hit function and then page down. Now you'll see the box just move down to the next section, and that allows me then to see that next section. Now if you have a PC, you'll hit the page down button. On a Mac, you hit the function, you hold down the function key and hit the down arrow. It does the exact same thing. And then you can go through and remove anything that you don't want in your image. So I'll just get rid of all those little boats on the horizon, don't like them. There we go. Function, down key again. Same thing, you can have a look and see anything that you don't like, anything that's distracting in that particular frame. Same thing, function, down arrow or page down button, and you'll see the white box on the inspector here moving around. Now, to get across to the next column, I do the same thing. I don't press the right arrow, I'll end up all the way over the other side of the image. I press the function and then the down arrow, or the page down, and you'll see my box has now moved into like the second column, if you like. And I didn't know about this. This is a great tip. You can see there's nothing there that I need to remove, so we'll do the same thing. I'll leave those boats because they're fine, they look good. Function down, anything I want to get rid of. Maybe you want to get rid of something distracting there. Function down. You just keep going through your image. Just keep hitting your page down or your function down button rather. And it just keeps scrolling through. See, now we're like on the third column now. So I'm just going through frame by frame. So I'm looking at the entire image, and anything that just doesn't work, I can just remove. Any dust bunnies or anything distracting that I don't like. And eventually what happens, you'll see, is now I'm at the end of my image. So this is the end of the image. So now what I've done is I've covered every square inch of that image, and I've removed all of the dust bunnies. So I thought that was really good tip. I'm going to, what's going on here? Hopefully you can still hear me okay. But I thought that was a really good tip. So what's going to happen, instead of going back to the video of me, you're going to just get this screen because the video cameras for some reason are freezing up today. What did you think of that tip? Thanks, Anthony, for sending that in. I think that's a really good tip. A top tip, because it just makes it so much easier to go through and make changes to the image and know that you've covered every single square, and it's really, really quick, really simple. So thanks for sending in that tip of the week. All right, next is the photography challenge. So the VIP challenge is something that we've been doing each week, and I'll just bring up the Facebook page. If you're not a VIP, then you should become one. So we have our own private Facebook group that looks something like this, and we've got a challenge on at the moment. We're about to announce week 2 winners, which was leading lines. You're probably wondering why there's a lot of shots with water in them here, but the reality was this week. If I just try and zoom the screen in a bit, there we go. Let's just zoom in a bit. This week, the theme is water. So what happens is on a Monday night at midnight, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, the competition ends, and I arrange or announce a new theme. And the theme this week is water. So people are now putting in their 3rd week's challenge. Some great shots going in there. And as you can see, there was some leading lines. So today we're going to announce the leading lines shots. That was the first week was sunsets. So lots of cool images going up into the VIP group. Now, if you're not a VIP, the good news is you can become one. Pretty simple. All you've got to do is go to... let's do this together. So you can see what happens. Go to your browser and type in patreon.com/on 3 legs. That's with the number 3. And here you will find out more information about becoming a patron, a bit of a video there, a bit of descriptions, and then you can choose whether you want to join up as a VIP or an elite VIP, entirely up to you. As soon as you join, it gives you access to this private group online where we have the challenges and regular chat, private hangouts, etc. So feel free to join us in the VIP group if you'd like to. You don't have to, no obligation to, but if you want a little bit more added value, come and join us and hang out with us. We're having a good old time in there. All right, I'm going to quickly just check out the chat box. All right. So is everything working okay? Can you all hear me okay as I'm doing everything? Hopefully, because the way that things are working. At least we're not crashing. We haven't crashed yet, so that's a plus. But by disconnecting my second monitor, it seems to have played gremlins with my other USB devices. I don't know why. But we haven't crashed yet. Fingers crossed this will... Maybe because they seem to think I'm putting too much effort on the graphics card by having 2 monitors running. Anyway, it's all good. That's the main thing. Okay, so let's have a look at these images. We'll start with our runner-up, which is... where are we? Okay. Let's see what's going on. Oh, is that it there? There it is there. Okay, so we want... I'm just trying to get things together here so we get the right things coming up on the screen. Things aren't 100% for me this morning. Very limited panel. All right, so this was the runner-up. So what I do is myself and the boss sit down, well, the boss really, and I say to the boss, can you go through and tell me which images really stand out and speak to you? And the boss does a bit of judging, and then I take a look through as well. And she always has an honourable mention, which I'll call a runner-up if you like, which this week was Steve Algie. Steve Algie is our runner-up with this beautiful image. Remembering this was the leading lines entry. Okay, so he's got this really nice fence leading through the image and looks really nice. So good job, Stephen. Well done. And the winner of the challenge for week 2 goes to Jill Heath with this image, which was sort of an abstracty leading lines image, but really nicely composed, and just shows you that sometimes if you think outside of the box, I mean, you can get a really good shot. And the leading lines definitely, if you look at all the 3, the 2 corners, the lines are really nicely lined up on the bottom corners of the frame, and then you've got the leading line leading up to the roof, right up that third line, if you think about the rule of thirds, and then that would be sitting right at an intersection. So, when you look at that image, it's just really compelling. It's a great shot. And it's a lighthouse, but it's just the way it's been composed looks really good. So great work to Steve and Jill. Well, great work to everybody who entered because there were some great pictures in there. And I think it's good to be challenging yourself and trying some different things. So, good stuff, Jill. I think you've done a good job there. And, excellent stuff. Now, this week's challenge is water. And I'm seeing some good shots coming in for that. So make sure you keep your water shots coming in. Looking forward to... as I say, limited panel. There we go. Looking forward to seeing all your entries coming in. Remember, you can enter up to 3 shots. But the shots do have to be taken the week of the challenge. And that's an honesty system. I'm not checking the EXIF information for shot dates, but, it's good. The whole idea of it is to challenge you this week to take a shot, of water or including water. And that way, you can have a... have something that challenges you and increases your photography skills each week. So water is the theme, and the entries close Monday night for VIPs. You've still got time if you're not a VIP to join the fun by becoming a VIP at patreon.com/on3legs, and then you can jump in and start entering your challenges. Now, for those of you that are VIPs, the entry process is going to change slightly next week because I thought it would be simple just to search a hashtag inside our group. And you can all go and try and search the hashtag. It actually doesn't bring up all the images. And as you're all starting to submit more images, it's getting more difficult for us to track them down. So what I'll be doing for the next week's challenge, which I'm not announcing yet, but I will be starting an album, an album for the week's challenge. It'll be named after the challenge, and you will need to then put your images into that album to enter them into the competition because it's becoming difficult to find them. I thought you could just search by a hashtag, but Facebook doesn't work like Twitter or any of those other platforms. So that's a challenge that we had. All right, let's jump into the viewer kit. The viewer kit this week is sent in by our very own Rob Roy. Now, let me jump back over here so I can describe a little bit about what's in Rob Roy's kit. So there we go. A little bit of a low-res photo. So if you could try and send me in high-res photos when you're sending them in. But you get the idea. And I'll just talk through a bit about the kit. Let me see if I can get that happening. All my all my confusion this morning means that I've lost my notepad on my screen somewhere. Where is it? Let's go into the original message in my inbox. That's probably the easiest way. Here we go. All right. So he says, "Hi Ben, enjoyed your last chatter. Here's my kit." He says, "Far from professional." No, it doesn't need to be professional. It's just, and I think that's the thing, I love the fact that, so many people are here shooting great images with, just everyday DSLRs. We're not high-end ones, just, very affordable equipment. And I think it's good. That's what it's all about. So he's got a Manfrotto 190 tripod with a BHQ2 head. Sigma 18-35, a Tokina 11-16, which is a great lens. You could definitely, and that's got the word pro on it, so it is professional. The Nikon 24-85, 70-300, and the nifty 50, which is the 1.8. And then he's got some neutral density filters, 3 stops, 6 stops, and a circular polarizer. He's got himself a flash there. Some extra batteries. He's got a wireless remote, which he loves, which is the RFN 40X. The RFN remotes are good. And then there's things like microfiber cloth memory card holder and his Nikon D500, as you can see there. And the backpack there is a low pro backpack. And he's got all the hoods, flashlights, and extra batteries, etc. in there. And other little things like we would all carry. But there you go. That's Rob Roy's kit. Thanks for sending that in, Rob. Really cool to see what people are shooting with. If you would like to share your viewer kit, there's a couple of ways that you can do it. And the way that you can send your viewer kit in is either via my Facebook page by messaging me, or you can send it to me via email. And if you ever look down in the description, you'll see that the email address is clearly marked in the description for you to be able to send that through. So feel free to send your kit through, give me a description of what's in it, and we'll share your viewer kit or your kit with the viewers. We'll see what it is you've got in your kit. All right, fantastic. So let's jump into my favourite part, which is a bit of image critiquing. I mean, I like it all, but let's jump into image critiquing. Just taking a sip of my coffee out of my Pixel Chatter cup. Normally you can see it, but not today. Might just quickly jump into the chat box and just see if everything's working well. Like, one of the downsides of today is I'm actually unable to see the chat box. Oh dear. Now I've got a problem. Dear, oh dear. Let's go over here. There we go. Yeah, I'm actually unable to see the chat box. There we go. Now I can see it. During the broadcast, easily, whilst I'm doing other things. Oh, what's going on here? Let's get this back down here. So I hope you're all well. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, congratulations, Jill. Yep, Spanner is Steve Algie. If you're wondering who Steve is, it's Spanner. When he says, well done, Jill. Congratulations, Steve. Good stuff. Nice kit, Rob. So Handy Part says, instead of a wireless remote, I use a QDSLR dashboard and router to send the pics to the iPad. Yeah, which is kind of cool. Maybe you could send a photo of that kit in Handy Parts and we could check that out. All right. Use Open Broadcast, yes. OBS. Okay, let's jump into Lightroom. Into image critique. We have 2 images this week. The first image we have is from... There we go. From Dennis... Hopefully I pronounced this right. Dennis Steele. No, that's not Dennis's image. Sorry, Steve, that's your image. Here we go. So the first image I have is from Dennis Steele. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And this is from... he did tell me where it's from. What happened to those notes? Rio. Beautiful shot. We'll come to that in a second. And the second shot we have... Let me just line the second shot up. The second shot we have is from Dan McPhail. There we go. It's a portrait landscape shot from Dan. Once again, really nice shot. Lots of movement in there, so we'll have a look at that as well. So let's kick off by jumping into Dennis's image, which is this one here, and taking a look at some of the details. Now, the EXIF information he had to send to me in an email. So it's shot with a Nikon D7200, 18 to 140mm zoom lens at 18mm, which is the equivalent of 27mm, and 1/500th of a second shutter speed, f8 at ISO 450. Now, I don't know whether it's handheld or tripod, but I wouldn't shoot at ISO 450. I'd always go as low as I could go, which in the D7200, the lowest native is ISO 200. So try to always get down there because it will just make sure you get a cleaner image. I would rather have a little bit of noise though, if I had to get a sharp image. But I think in this case here, you could have gone down to 200 and you still would have had a 1/200th of a second shutter speed, which is more than enough for what you were shooting if you were handheld. Now, if you were on a tripod, I would have also increased my aperture up to maybe f11, f13. F8's okay because there's not a lot of depth of field here. And I think what you're trying to capture here was a lot of the cloud. But from a technical point of view, that's what I would have done. Now, if we zoom in, you'll see it's actually really quite noisy. And the reason for that, I'll just go to 4:1. The reason for that is because it's at that higher ISO. You'll even get it at a lower ISO, but as soon as you start bumping up the ISO, all of this noise grain is going to become more pronounced. So the idea is to try and reduce as much of that as we can when we're taking the photo. So it will just help you. Now I'm just going to try something actually whilst I'm here. So I'm just going to move my chat box so I can see that. Maybe see it if I put it down on my other screen. I might be able to see it whilst I'm doing this, but it's just going to make my life a little bit more difficult as I try and have multiple. There we go. There we go. Cool. So I can make sure if there's any technical issues, you can tell me, and I should be able to see in the chat box that we're having technical issues, and I'll just stay in the Lightroom screen for a while whilst we do this. All right, so from a technical issue, they're the changes that I would have made. Really nice, opportunity here with where the sun is here in the clouds, and a beautiful looking location. For me, let me just jump into the develop module. When I get an image where I'm shooting into the sun, what you're doing is you're increasing the dynamic range. I always try and even it out just a little bit. And the way that I do that is you can really quickly, you'll see the difference. If I just drop the highlights and increase the shadows, I can tend to, maybe a bit more contrast, can really then accentuate the situation. So if I just go to before and after, so that's before and that's after. And if you just have a look where the sun rays are coming out from behind the cloud, how much detail that has just returned to the image. And the good thing about just about every camera these days is you can so easily, now I'm working on a JPEG and a RAW file, you'll get a better result, but you can so easily recover lost detail, and it'll just help you really get that happening. The other thing that I'm noticing pretty straight away is it looks to me like it's not level, so let's just level it up a bit there so we get our horizon nice and straight. And then for me, the composition is slightly out, and I'm not going to be able to fix it because I think that this mountain here and the sun should just be a little bit to the right and be on this line here and on this bottom intersection. And we just can't do it because without shortening up the image, which I'll do. I'll just so you can see the effects of doing this. Let's see if we can make it work to some degree. But I'm going to have to really change the image to make it work because... but I'll just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Yeah, so it's going to be too zoomed in. But you get the idea, right? The idea is to try and put something on this intersection here. You could have had the sun on this line. As it is, what I would suggest we do to try and sort of save that a little bit is if you have a look out to the right here, whilst the clouds are interesting, they're probably not interesting enough to take up a majority of the photo. So I'd be more tempted to try and make this more of a feature in the image. Something like that. Now the other thing, you probably want the mountain to be a little bit silhouetted, which it is. You can see it's quite noisy now because of what I've done with the cropping. I would also go through and just, maybe get rid of a couple of these boats on the horizon that are just not really adding any value to our shot. Get rid of those, they're a bit distracting. They're okay, those ones. But you could, in some instances, sometimes what I'll do is I'll go through and remove all the people on the beach, remove all the boats in the water, because it just gives it that real serenity feel. So it just depends on what you want to do. And then I think, in this instance here, maybe we could, you could play with your white balance a little bit. I think it's just slightly off, only very, very slightly. I'm just going to try a few different things here, increase the contrast. Get a bit more depth in the image, something like that maybe. Just try a few little things. Grab a brush. This is a good trick. If you've got a sunset like this, grab a brush and put the saturation to 100%. Grab your brush and just go over any areas where there's colour. And don't worry about the 100%. That might be freaking you out. I'm going to bring it back in a second. This just helps you really work out where you're making the colour pop. And then once you've done it, then you just adjust the saturation till you're happy with it. And I find that works really well. image needs a lot of noise reduction. I would do that in Photoshop. Wouldn't do that in here. I can see a dot of some sort there. I don't know what it is. It looks like muck on the lens. I'll get rid of that there. Get rid of that there. What else have we got? Let's try that trick that Anthony gave us. How about we do that? How about we go to 2:1, and we'll go function left arrow. There we go. And let's start looking through the image and see if there's anything we can remove. So I'm just going through. You can see it's quite noisy. I'm just hitting the down button. Yeah, I'll show you what I mean by cleaning these up to give yourself like a real clean sort of effect. You know, and this is a good thing with Lightroom's so good at this now. It does such a good job when you do this spot removal stuff that make sure too, if you've got boats that are moving, that you try and remove their trail as well, because otherwise it'll look funny. We might just leave the one in there, that one fishing boat. Let's keep doing page down. Let's go page down, page down. There we go. Oh, I saw something just there that I didn't like. Some small little dust bunnies or dots. Could be birds, could be anything, who knows. Let's get rid of them. Page down, let's do one more. Let's get rid of these little ones here, whatever they are. A few more little dots here and there. We're going to leave that one fishing boat. There we go. And now let's go back to fit. Have a look. So can you see? I'll show you the before and after, right? So I just moved all of those boats, which some photographers would say don't do that. But here's the before. See all the boats? And here's the after. Can you see the difference it has on the image, the effect? Before and after. So we've got the one. It's almost like, you've got this one boat out there. It just brings a bit of drama to the shot as opposed to that. And so that's why sometimes I'll do that. And you could do the same with all the people down here. We could do the same thing because they're not adding any value. They just look like dots, right? So you just go through and just remove them all. Just with this removal tool, just go crazy. Get in there. Don't be afraid to do this. And, I used to always be worried about removing things and post-processing my photos, and not for any other reason except so many other people online have an opinion about whether you should or shouldn't do it. And I got to the point where I went, you know what? It's my art, as a hot pixel there, Dennis, that I don't care what other people think. It's not their photo, it's my photo, so I'll do whatever I like. And once again, I'll show you the before and after. There's the before and there's the after. So you can just see the difference just by making a few changes, how you can really change the dynamics of an image. So thanks heaps for sending that in, Dennis. Hopefully you like the changes I made. Once again, I always say to people, here we go, we'll just go into, let's give you a better view. It's a bit decluttered. Here we go. So here's before and here's after. Before and after. Now, like I said, the composition is not something you can fix post-production. I would have, just had I would have shot a little bit more to the left just to make sure that I got more of that mountain in and more of the sun in. But there you go. That's, it's all good. No harm done. All right. Let's jump out of that then. I'm just going to jump back into here for a second. Jump into the chat box quickly. What's going on in the chat box? Everybody happy? Hear me okay? Haven't thought about removing stuff before, Rick? Yeah, sometimes it can give the impression of, more of, I don't know, solitude, or I don't know what the right word is, serenity. I just find that sometimes if you've got lots of boats like that, or lots of people, sometimes it can really distract people's eye, the viewer's eye, from the image, or for me it can. And so then sometimes I will make those changes so I can, just enhance the photo. All right, let's jump into the next image. I really like this image. This one is shot in, it is sent to me by Dennis McPhail. Dan McPhail. Let's try that again. I'm having a lot of fun with my titles today. I don't have the normal screen. You know what's happened by doing this? We have not crashed. So I have a feeling the crashing is either something to do with the camera or something to do with the second monitor. So this is good news. We have not crashed. This is the first time in weeks that we haven't had a crash. Now, it may happen yet, who knows, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right. Now, this is Dan McPhail's image. Now, normally, an image of landscape shot in portrait doesn't always work. But we'll talk about that in a second because it depends on the leading lines. You've got really nice leading lines here, really beautiful colour on the horizon, and some nice detail on the rocks in the foreground, and lots of good focus. So we'll go through that in a second. Let's start off by looking at the technical information, which is right over here on the right-hand side of the screen. And we've got, you probably can't read it, but I can. So he shot this with his Sony, and I'm not sure what camera this is. Maybe someone can help me. Sony IL, hang on, I'm just going to bring up my chat box in case someone can help me. Sony ILCE7M2. I don't know what that is. And it's got a 17 to 35mm f2.8 to f4 lens, shot at 22mm. And he shot this at 139 seconds at f16. I'm not sure what camera that is. But it's great to see people using different cameras. Now, he had ISO 100, so a nice low ISO, and shot it at 139 seconds. So that's about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So just over 2 minutes at f16. So must be using a filter of some sort. I would say a big stopper to be able to achieve that length of exposure. And yeah. So it's good to see. I can see Dennis in the chat box just saying on the last shot he handheld balancing on a chair. So good. Okay, good to know that. So Anthony says looks Nissi. You think the shot looks Nissi? Okay, yeah, maybe he's got some Nissi filters. Who knows? But I don't know. I'd have to look at the email that he sent in to see if there was any other details. But yeah, and a really nice shot. My only on the composition, I'm not a huge fan of doing portrait for landscape unless it's really strong composition. And this could have worked better, I think, if it was a bit wider. And the reason I say that is because I feel like we're missing the edges. I feel like I'm missing out. And these rocks in the foreground, if you just got back a bit, I mean, there's beautiful detail with all these barnacles or crustaceans on the rocks. And he's really done well to bring the detail out. So it looks like he's done a bit of processing on bringing that detail out. But I just think it would have been nicer to see a little bit more. Now, there's two ways he could have achieved that. He could have kept it in portrait mode and stepped back and got a bit more in, or he could have put it into landscape mode. And either way would have worked. The thing I like about portrait mode for this shot is the sky is really interesting. So, by doing it this way, he's getting a lot of the sky in. He has done a fair bit of post-processing, and I know that because when you tilt a lens down like this, wide open, you're going to get a lot of distortion. It looks like he's removed a lot of that out there. We can see the colours are strong. We can see clarity in the picture. There's good contrast. So he's got his post-processing down pretty well. There is a bit of distortion on the horizon. I don't know if you can see, but it's bowing upwards. Okay, very easy to remove if we jump into the develop module. And if you look down here to lens corrections, you can go into manual and you'll see there's this distortion piece here. You just drag it a bit to the right. See, left makes it bulge upwards, right downwards. And it gives you a line to sort of help you really just adjust it to where it needs to be. So it didn't need a lot, but it does need a little bit. Now the problem with that is I'm going to have to remove these white edges now, unless I go into Photoshop and do it in Photoshop. It could do content aware fill, and it would do it probably pretty easy on this one. But let's say you don't want to use Photoshop, and I'm just going to straighten that horizon up, and then I'm just going to crop out those bits that, just to get rid of that distortion. And sometimes it can really distract the viewer's eye if the distortion is there. And that's just a little bit better. I think for me, the other thing with the composition, you'll see that there's nothing, like it's a very symmetrical image, so there's nothing really drawing the eye anywhere particular. My eye is really drawn to this colour up here, and it is sort of on the rule of thirds, but that's where my eye is drawn. And the sky is just amazing. So, I think sometimes getting those long exposures, looks really good. Looks really good when you do long exposure and the sky's moving. You can also see that it really, makes this, rather than the water look like water, it looks like it's misty. I would do something with this here, where the lens flare or something, maybe it's reflection on the water, but it just looks a bit unnatural. So I'd probably just go into remove that. Let's go into 4:1 and we'll use Anthony's new tip. I like this tip, Anthony. It just saves so much time. And we'll go through and we'll just do a bit of pixel peeping. Ooh, look at that, see, straight up. I don't know if you can see those there, but straight up I can see some dust bunnies. And when you know what, if you've got to be really careful, because if you were to, oops, give me that back. What's going on? Oops, something's happening. Let me just get out of this preview mode. There we go. If you were to send this off to the printer, oops. If you were to send this off to the printer and it came back with dust bunnies like this on it, I'll just zoom right in to make sure you can see them, because I want to just show you. If you were to send this off to the printer and you got it back with these two blotches on, you'd probably be pretty upset. So make sure that you use a bit of your time in post-processing to go through and just check. And now we know this really easy way to do it. Let's just go and we'll remove this one. Okay, we'll hit page down. This is the best tip, Anthony. Well, it's such a time saver. I'm going to get rid of, see this little light barnacle here? It's just irritating me. So I just get rid of anything. Even down here, if I just go back, I'm just going to go back over here again. Even things here, you can get rid of any that are just right on the edge that you don't want. And I know it sounds like an odd thing to do, but it's sort of like it's just getting rid of the distractions off the edge of the frame. So just sometimes I'll do that, just get rid of any here. I really like the ones on the edge, but I want the eye to be led somewhere. So you can go through and you can actually, it's really easy just to go through and remove stuff. And I know that, oops, what happened there? Oh, straight away there. Because we're not zooming. Let's zoom in a bit more. So actually we'll just go through. Let's just do this side. So I'm seeing something else just there. Another dust bunny. Be really careful, guys and girls. Dust bunnies. And I don't know if you can see these little barnacles here. They just look like dots. Let's get rid of them. Yeah, it's good. That's all good. The rest is good. All right, let's go back to just fitting it all in and getting rid of that tool. Look at that. All right. So you can see where I got rid of them on the right here, on the left rather here. I'll do the same thing down here. I'll just get rid of the barnacles that aren't adding any value to our shot. And you'll see just once again, when I show you the before and after, you'll see the difference that it makes. And I know the purists will get really upset with me, but I just like to do it this way. Let's show you. So this was the before. You can see with the distortion, and just pay attention to the bottom corners where I've removed some of that mess. Just see it just cleans it up and makes it so the eye's drawn a little bit more in, but got rid of the bit of distortion. And otherwise I think the rest of the processing is great. I don't need to do anything with the detail, the colors or anything. Like I said, the only other thing I might do is pay some attention to where, so I don't know if you can see that on the horizon where the light's looking a bit funny on the water. I'd be tempted to try and do something there, but I don't think it is lens flare. I think it's just reflection on the water and it's just doing something funny because of the long exposure. But I'd be tempted to do something there. And, always with these rocks here, it looks great, but I don't know why I love doing it, but I love getting my clarity brush and just really making sure that any of the detail in the foreground rocks really stands out. I just like making it happen. I just think it really... Now, the more you can get your foreground to stand out, the better it looks. So I'm a real, clarity fan. And if you look at any of my photos with foreground, you'll always see that the detail in the foreground really pops out. And this is my secret. It's called clarity. Just, get your clarity brush and go crazy. You can overdo it, so be careful. But you'll see, I'll show you. We'll do it before and after in a second. The other thing the clarity brush works really well on, by the way, but let's go to 1:1. Let's go to fit, actually. Is in water like here. The clarity brush can really make it pop out if you. Okay. I'll turn that brush off. Let's go back into a before and after shot. So this was before, and here's after. So you can see I've done very little with the post-processing, but if you just pay attention to this rock here in the middle of the water, after using the clarity brush, how much more it just sort of makes it pop. So that was before, and that's after. Before and after. And what I'll do is I'll zoom in onto that one. Let's zoom in onto that rock so you can sort of see before and after. So you can see the difference. It's subtle, but it's enough that it just makes it pop out. And it looks good. Great shot, Dan. Really like it. Done a good job there, mate. So thank you to Dennis and Dan for sending those in. Thank you to the VIP entries and to our viewers kit, which was Rob. Thanks for sending that in, Rob. Well done to Jill for winning the weekly challenge, and thanks for tuning in. Sorry about the technical issues again. I know I say that every week, and I've had a lot of requests too about when's the weekly vlog coming back. I've been really busy, and just haven't been out shooting, so I need to get out shooting and do some more vlogs. And I've got a few still to edit, but I've just been I've been busy with the work. We've just been doing launching a new section of our business, and also busy at home, just enjoying life. Lots of stuff on, and going out and not with the camera. So I've got to get out with the camera a little bit more. Let's wind up by sharing your media channel, your social media pipelines in the chat box. Go for it. Feel free. And I've got to say, I'm happy to say that today we did not have a crash. So maybe having the second monitor was too much on the graphics card. So I need to work out another way of making this all work. And the iPad definitely works. That's what I'm running. I'm running a program called Duet, which makes my iPad a second monitor. But it's very restrictive because it's small. So knowing that works, maybe there's another way. I'll have to talk to my computer guru once again, who's been helping me troubleshoot each week. And it's good to see that today we got through without any crashing. All right, well, we just didn't get to see my ugly head because the camera wasn't working. I don't even know if I can get it going. Let's see if I can. Now we're at the end. I'm just going to see if I can make it work without it freezing up. Doesn't look like it. No, not going to work. For some reason, when I use the camera, it just freezes up and nothing works. Something like this. I look pretty serious there, don't I? That doesn't work. All right. Just a reminder, if you want to shoot your images in for image critique, the email address is in the link down below in the description. You can shoot it through to me at Bennett on 3 legs. That's with the word 3. Make sure you include the EXIF information and shoot me 3 images, and that way I can choose one of the 3 over several Pixel Chatter shows to share and to critique. Viewers kit, same thing, and just read through in the description. You'll see a few links down there that you can visit if you want to see what gear I use, or you want to become a VIP. All that fun stuff is down there in the link. Once again, thank you very much for your patience with this live broadcast. I will announce the next VIP hangout for the VIPs. I've noticed Richard has asked this week. I need to lock that in. I've got some things coming up where I had to go away, so I just had to lock that in before I locked in the dates. Otherwise, I was going to have to move the dates around, but I've got everything locked in now, so I should be able to announce that this week. So if you are a VIP, look out in the VIP group for the next hangout date and time. And we are going to be talking about a specific topic. So you can also in the VIP group mention what would you like as the specific topic in the hangout. Happy to hear from you for that. All right, thanks again, gang. Really appreciate you tuning in each week for the Pixel Chatter show. This was episode number 30, and we'll see you next week. Take care.